Thank you, Zack. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Hope you're having a good week. If you need to get caught up on anything you missed on the channel, go ahead and check it out. And if you're new, thank you for visiting my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you leave today. So before we get into today's topic, I do want to go over a recent poll that I ran on my channel and on Twitter. I'm going to start trying to do these more. I do them once in a blue moon when it seems like, you know, something comes to mind or it's a hot topic. I ran a poll a few days ago that asked, who do you think would win in a battle between Wonder Woman and Feora? Okay, now on YouTube, the poll received 143 votes at the time of making this video. I don't put time limits on the YouTube ones, and so it can get votes anytime again, but at this time of making the video, Wonder Woman got 73% of the votes and Feora got 27, which I think was kind of surprising because most people in the comments were talking about Feora. Wonder Woman took that one, and then on Twitter didn't get quite as many votes. It only got 84 votes in a 24-hour period. But the results were almost exactly the same, which was pretty crazy if you ask me. Wonder Woman got 77.4% and Feora got 22.6%. So almost exactly the same results on both platforms, which is pretty wild. I did another one recently about Henry Cavill's suit and David Corn's sweatsuit. That one got a whole lot more votes, obviously, and Henry Cavill blew it out of the water. But I'll try to start incorporating those more and then bringing them up on the channel. Pretty interesting results. I think it would be an epic battle, to say the least. Really, this whole video is going to be very Snyderverse oriented. So, but that's fitting because yesterday, May 20th, was the 4-year anniversary for the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League. We watched, when Zack had the watch along on Vero, watched Man of Steel. Best movie to watch as a watch along to announce the movie, right? And of course, Henry Cavill showed up. At that moment, I knew something big was happening. It was just epic and awesome. I'll always remember it was such a special time, special day. The hype level was just unmatched. And I'm so happy that us fans did not give up. It was amazing. And it still is. And it's still surreal sometimes that we have that movie and that the whole thing happened. It was crazy journey. And so I just want to talk about some of my favorite moments from the Snyderverse overall. I don't want to get too specific in nitty-gritty details, but just overall certain moments or aspects. Just to be clear, the Snyderverse in DC anyway, because I think now we're kind of including Zack's other work, other movies into the Snyderverse, right? But for the sake of this video, I'm talking specifically DC. Even more specific than that, I personally consider the Snyderverse in DC to include Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder's Justice League, obviously his trilogy, but I also put Aquaman, the first movie, Wonder Woman's first movie into that, and other movies that are still part of that universe, like The Flash and Aquaman 2 and Shazam and Wonder Woman 84, not the Suicide Squad, I don't consider that. David Ayer's Suicide Squad, I don't even really put that one in there quite as much. I know Zack Snyder was involved in it, but it wasn't David Ayer's true vision, so it's sort of in there, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, those are really the 5 movies that I consider like core Snyderverse DC movies. So we're just kind of go in order. Okay, some of my favorite moments from Man of Steel. To be clear, I'm not ranking these. I don't want to go through all that, like top 10, these are just off the top of my head, which is probably still kind of subconsciously being ranked. You know, things that come to your mind first. But off the top of my head, First Flight, and some of these overlap. First Flight, hands down, and the suit reveal, those kind of overlap because we get the suit reveal, him coming out of the ship, and that leads into the First Flight, right? So that whole thing just blows my mind every time. I love it every single time. The build up, the fact, seeing him learn how to fly, just seeing him push his limits, the voiceover from Jor-El, perfection. I just absolutely love it. The score, the beautiful suit against the snow. To be honest, not even gonna lie to you, it took me like a long time, embarrassingly long, to realize that he was flying around the world. I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but it did. So that's that. Beautiful scene. Now, the world engine. And as Man of Steel Henry Cavill Superman fans know that when you say world engine scene, it's when he's giving his all to stop the world engine and flying up into it to just completely destroy it. Again, the score, seeing him completely just... Henry Cavill does such an amazing job. Like, it looks like he's actually flying. Like, that probably sounds stupid, but he does such a great job of the facial expressions and the body language that the body movements that he uses to make it look like he's actually putting so much force and energy into flying. And that whole thing, the close-up shot, the shot of the entire world engine from him, and you just see this little Superman in the middle flying up, like, it's just, it's so beautiful, it's amazing. And then afterward, he's never done that before. He's never given so much of his power to do, like, he's never felt that before. That scene is, I love it. And then, like, the flashbacks throughout the movie, I really love that. I think it's so crucial to his origin story, the way that Zack chose to show these different challenges in his life as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult, things that we haven't really seen really before in live action Superman movies. What would he struggle with? He's not a perfect being. What would he struggle with having this immense power and ability? And I just absolutely love the flashback scenes, like all of them. I think they're so important, and I think there's just such a big misunderstanding that people have surrounding things that, like, the parts of the movie that some people have problems with. The flashbacks clearly address them in such a, love them flashbacks. And I'm not gonna say that I love the scene of him killing Zod, because that sounds a little morbid. But really, that painful yell and cry that Henry Cavill improv'd, by the way, after killing Zod, that is always just very captivating to me. And I love that Zack chose to, even though Henry Cavill, I love even more that Henry improv'd it, but the fact that Zack chose to keep it, and that Zack obviously wanted him to show some kind of deep sorrow and emotion, and I think that's extremely important. You don't really get that in a lot of comic book movies when people do die, and the fact that he put him in that position and he had to deal with that, I think was beautifully depicted. But Man of Steel, in my book, is still a completely perfect movie, and there's never, even to this day, there's nothing I would change about that movie, not one thing. Moving on to BVS. Batman has been brought into the mix, and some of my favorite moments are the warehouse scene. Absolutely amazing fight scene with Batman against, saving Martha. Badass, epic choreography's on just stunt team is phenomenal, and we have to give so much props to Richard Centrone as well, who was Ben Affleck's stunt double. Probably one of the best live action Batman fight scenes we'll ever see on screen. Just gonna say that. Wonder Woman's entrance, I love her throughout the movie. I love the interactions between her and Bruce. I love everything about her in that movie. But her entrance when she actually saves Batman against Doomsday has to be definitely one of the best superhero entrances that we'll ever get in DC. Probably comic book movies in general. It's awesome. Her score comes in. We see her gauntlets just soaking up all of the energy from Doomsday's blast, and we get to see her just completely dominating Kick-Ass during the battle with Doomsday. So awesome. Superman montage definitely will always be one of my favorite moments of BVS and Zack's DC movies in general. Again, it addresses so perfectly what was being set up in Man of Steel and what he continued to reiterate about his father. How would the world react if this being really existed? And the Superman montage perfectly shows how that would be in real life, and I just love that. And then we also get to see Henry Cavill Superman doing these awesome godly acts. I don't say godly as like people should worship him, but that's kind of part of the discussion though in the montage though, right? How should we think of him? But doing epic things that people would like to see a super being do, not just things that don't matter. you know, and going around the world and doing these things. And then seeing him try to, like, how should I feel about this? People are torn when I'm just trying to do what I can for people. So I really love that aspect of it. And of course the nightmare scene, because I was blown away in theaters. Even though I didn't get to see the Ultimate Edition in theaters, I was blown away by the nightmare scene. I wasn't confused. I was just like in shock in the best way. And I still just absolutely love it. And seeing the Flash come through afterward, lunging at Bruce, I was just about to, I literally moved to the edge of my seat and was about to jump up because it was mind-blowing. It's amazing. So many things to love about that movie though. The fight scene between Batman and Superman. I mean, so much beautiful imagery there, and the fight's pretty intense. So, moving on to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, it's 4 hours. So there's so many moments I could pick from each section of the movie since it's broken into chapters. I have favorite moments from each chapter. Some of these overlap. This one kind of overlaps for me. Superman's resurrection and Superman versus the League. Those kind of overlap for me since one leads right into the other. I love the way that the whole resurrection plays out, and then seeing the nightmare vision, that kind of overlaps with another one. The nightmare vision that Cyborg has, the way they have to use the mother box to bring him back, and Flash has a part in that. Like, it's really cool how they went about that. And then seeing him come back, and then it leads into him fighting the League, is just, whoa. It's awesome to see these superhero, I mean, super being characters just go at it. All these, they all have these amazing abilities except Batman. And their super speed and seeing him in the Flash, like, pick up on each other's speed. It's just, the whole thing is really, really cool. And to see Lois kind of snap him out of that, I love it. Now, the history lesson battle with Darkseid and Ares and the Amazons, and when they first came to Earth, you know, tens of thousands of years ago, and invaded, and they, you know, all the Atlanteans and everybody fought against them. That whole scene is so, I mean, first of all, every frame looks like a painting. And then seeing a young Darkseid and Ares and Zeus and, you know, Artemis, like, it's epic. It's so epic. There's a lantern. We have all of these different, you know, tribes and kingdoms come together, and seeing the Atlanteans before they were underwater, seeing the Amazons before they were at the Mascara. The whole thing is, I'm so happy that we got to see it. See Darkseid almost get taken out. Like, Zeus is amazing. Shout out to Ray Porter because he did those yells from Darkseid. That was actually his voice. So cool. And then kind of going back to what I said a moment ago about the Superman resurrection, Cyborg's visions are really interesting that he has throughout the movie and how it plays into it. I think it's just cool because sometimes it's easy to kind of forget sometimes that he comes from apocalyptic technology. And so seeing how, you know, Zack, they incorporated that into these different visions that he's seeing, all this information that he has, it's very interesting. Now, the Speed of Force still makes me tear up. I was crying a lot the first time I watched it. The music, the visuals, the monologue that Barry is saying while he's doing through this, the slow motion, seeing him start up, like, before he's even going to run and the electricity is going around him. The whole scene, visual, it's just, I've never seen anything like it in a film. Never. I don't think anything's going to top that in that kind of scene. Like, what's happening there. It evokes this emotion that they can't even describe. The whole thing together, how they made it, it's just, it's amazing. I don't even know how to describe. It's absolutely amazing. It's perfect. It's perfection. That scene is perfection. And of course, Henry Cavill's Superman's entrance when he goes to join the League to fight Steppenwolf is, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting to see how Zack had that planned in his vision. And it was, I loved it. I loved it. And then just see him dominate and take over. Black suit. I mean, super confident Superman. I mean, reinvigorated. Just, yeah. Thank you, Zack. Of course, like I said, that movie's just a masterpiece, and there's so many amazing moments to love about that movie. I love it. It never feels like 4 hours. Now, since we've gone through all of those, I want to mention some of my other things just kind of scattered throughout. Another one I would mention from Zack Snyder's Justice League is Wonder Woman saving the kids from the terrorist attack. I love her in that scene. Love. The way she doesn't even let one of those men come close to her is just, yes. And then Zack balanced it so perfectly with, after the fight is done, not much of a fight, but after she's done taking them out and she kneels down and talks to those little girls, it's perfect. That's what you want from Wonder Woman. She is a princess who's there to inspire young girls, but then she's this badass warrior who's just not going to ask any questions. Well, she kind of does before she goes and just takes them all out. And yeah, love it. See, my favorite scene in another movie that I include in the Snyderverse is Wonder Woman's first movie, No Man's Land. That is another scene that evokes a lot of emotion in me, brings me to tears most of the time. It's her suit reveal. The score is beautiful in that section, and just seeing her build up that confidence, and I love that scene so much. Those are some that I would mention from that I would also put into favorites. It's funny, a lot of those are things that Warner Brothers was really, the previous leadership was very, bent on removing. I mean, not to mention pretty much all of Zack Snyder's Justice League altogether. But, No Man's Land and Speed of Force, a lot of those, they were just so bent on, people are not going to get, I don't understand. But, there's probably a lot of other things that I would like to include. But like I said, I'm not doing like a hard, like ranking top 10 or anything like that. I just want to mention some of the things that always stand out to me when I watch these movies and that evoke, just a lot of emotion and appreciation for these films. Cyborg as well in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I love seeing his, when we kind of get a montage of like his arc and him playing football, and Ray Fisher's just performance in general. That movie is one of my favorite things about the Snyderverse. Fantastic. I love it every time. Just the fact that all of them got to get vindicated in that movie, I think, was the most special thing. But those are some of the moments that I wanted to share from the Snyderverse. No matter what happens with DC moving forward, I'm always going to have so much love and appreciation for these films. They're always going to be the standard for me. Personally, people can say move on, let it go, no more. That doesn't mean that you still can't hold on. We all have things that we love and hold on to and appreciate no matter how much time has passed. And these movies are going to be that for me as far as DC is concerned. Just like we have movies that we love and hold on to that are special to us from growing up in our childhood. And every time we watch them, we still love them. It's still going to be the same thing with these movies for me, even though DC is moving on now. And I think it's, it's a little bit harder to do that when you don't have the closure that I think these people, that these characters, these cast members deserved. Makes a little bit different situation, but these are always going to be so special. And the journey to get to Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it's always going to be special, and I'm always going to love and appreciate it no matter what. So that's that. Share some of yours down below, and I probably forgot some, but those are the ones that came to my mind for the sake of this video. I'll always have a lot to talk about with these movies. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out anything you might have missed on the channel, including the short section. And if you're interested, you can check out my Hive marketplace. The link is in the description. I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.